everyone, this is Pig for Life, and in today's Transformers review we'll be taking a look at GCreations Shuraking SRK-01 Thunderous, their version of the Dinobot Sludge in their Shuraking line. So this is part of their Combiners Legend line, and GCreations is new to the world of Transformers figures, and they're making a Combiner Dinobot group where Sludge or their Thunderous is going to make up the left leg. So a very interesting take on the Dinobots. The second company to really be taking on Dinobots as a combiner, especially in the classic scale, this is where it really is designed to fit. So let's go ahead and get started with packaging review. And you can see that you have a really nice shiny chromed out box here. You get a nice large image in the background of their Shuraking with their mean tooth combiner mode. Again, then you have Sludge up in the front here with the massive guns, and he's again is going to make up the left leg. At the bottom you can just get the information about the figure, and again it's produced by GCreations, but it also says by G Studio down here. Alright, looking around to this side, it just carries on the combiner figure onto this side, and just more generic information. On the back we get images of all the different modes. So you have him in robot mode and fully equipped with a bunch of weapons. You have him in Dino mode with his weapons attached, and then you have in combined mode here. Going on the other side, again just carrying on the background image of the combined form. On the top there's really not much there either, and then on the bottom same thing. But it's a very nice packaging. It's nice and chromy and shiny. It's definitely really quite sturdy, so I like that they're doing some quality packaging for their first Transformers figure. Alright, let's go ahead and get them out of packaging. Out of packaging you get this nice big clamshell. You get Thunderous in robot mode, and then you have a bunch of accessories here with his weapons and his huge foot, which is almost as tall as the robot mode. You also get this little stack card, nice plastic card that has Thunderous on the front in robot mode, Combiners Legend Strong Deformation, and on the back you have just some more pictures of robot and Dino mode, and then some stats here with his intelligence very low. And then you just have a bunch of information here. His deform is Brontosaurus, his position is Jungle Warrior, and he's part of the Autobots, and it has a short bio there. It's really small print though. Okay, I just find it kind of funny that they say firepower is like really low when they give him massive weapons. But anyway, let's go beyond that. Zoom back out. He also comes with a huge instruction sheet that shows transformations into some of the various modes. Overall, they're pretty good. The transformation isn't too complex, but there are some things that you want to keep in mind. Getting this guy out of actual packaging, you get him in robot mode. He does come not fully transformed, so let's pull that out. And then on this side, you get a bunch of weapons and accessories. So you have his massive foot. You have, oops, a couple of his guns, a couple of swords. There's one thing I will mention very quickly. On this version that they sent me, it was mispackaged, and I got two of the, I think, right guns. Yeah, I believe right guns. Instead of having the opposite, the mirror. So you're supposed to have one of each side. You can see that these are actually identical. It's supposed to be kind of mirrored like this. So unfortunately, they're going to have to replace one of these. Move that off to the side. Just showing off the swords real quick. He does have this nice two big swords. And these are basically identical. Put this off to the side. And then you have the foot, which we'll get into a little bit later, but it comes in 4 different pieces, I think, once we get it all split apart. So let's move that to the side as well. Out of packaging, you get Thunderous in this mode here. He's not fully robot mode. There's a couple things you're going to want to do. You're going to want to pull these wings back and kind of up, I guess. You can do with the wings whatever you want. The second thing you're going to need to do is actually, the shoulders are low. They're supposed to actually extend out like that, and you just pull on them. And that gives you kind of more beefy shoulders, and also allows you to get more articulation out of them since they have different ratcheted pieces in there. So yeah, now we can actually go into robot mode review. Let's go ahead and start with articulation really quick. The wings here are on a hinge, and then a hinge this way. So you can get a lot of different posability. You can fold it all the way back if that's what you like. You can swing them up over his head. I just kind of leave them like this. They kind of look like, he almost looks vampiric in appearance to me. But yeah, that's his articulation there. His head is on a ball joint, and he gets a lot of range of motion, especially in the back because it's slotted, so you can actually almost get him looking all the way up. Good range down, good head bobble. So they did a really good job with the head sculpt, or at least the head articulation, the ball joint. His arms are on a ball joint, very similar to Masterpiece Grimlock, but the shoulders themselves also have some ratchets. So you can go, when you fold it in, everything in, it kind of self-collapses. You can do it like this, where the shoulders are up more, or you can collapse it the other way, which came out of packaging, which was collapsing it downwards. But you're probably not gonna make too much use of that, other than trying to get it into the body, getting the shoulders into the body a bit more. He does have bicep swivel. Does have double jointed elbows. You can only get 90 degrees, which is not bad though. He does have wrist articulation. He doesn't have any articulation in the hand, so there's just one molded piece for the fist. No articulation whatsoever. You can't open them, or the thumb isn't separate. It's all just one molded piece. You do have these dynamo toes, which you can do something with. You can move them around, but they're really for transformation purposes. It does have a waist swivel, which feels like it's softly ratcheted. You might get some interference, so you might need to move the dynamo head out of the way. As far as hips go, just a friction joint going up, back. Same thing goes for out here. His connectors in here look like they're supposed to be ratcheted, but I don't feel any ratchets in them, and it would actually have been nice if they were ratcheted because they're not particularly strong. But yeah, I feel no ratchets, even though on the inside you can actually see some gears in there. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe this is a defective one, but maybe they decided to get away with it, do away with it. He does have upper thigh swivel. He does have knee articulation, a knee bend. Because he has a lot of big legs and calves, you don't get a lot of movement there. Then you do have the ratcheted knees though. And then at the feet, you have a little bit of toe articulation. So I think these are on maybe on a ball joint, maybe just on two hinges. I can't really see that well in there. It looks like a ball joint really deep in there. But yeah, that's it for robot mode articulation. I'll go very quickly into the head sculpt, which I think is a fine interpretation of this guy. He looks fairly mean. So let's go ahead and zoom in. And while it's not very traditional Sludge, I think it does look pretty good. Very robotic. I don't know why, but it gives me kind of a Starscream vibe. I have no idea why. But pretty generic. Nothing too distinctive about Sludge. But yeah, I actually quite like it. Let's go do a quick 360. And like I said before, you get a lot of leg here, which looks very G1, and that's what they're going for with this figure. They're going for G1 and unique combiner with this guy. In this whole set, actually. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the weapons again. They just peg right on here. Again, he has two of these, so you can dual wield those. If you bring in one of the guns, you can bring down this handle. Like so, you just have to rotate that down. He has weapons like that. You can also make use of this little piece in here and rotate out these pegs, and you can plug them into the side. I think that's what they showed on the back of the box. Just using it for reference. Yeah, so they do that. It's kind of weird to do that, but you can aim that like so. And push this guy back for a bit. So I'm going to bring in the leg real quick. The foot. You split this down the middle. It's pretty... sorry about that. It's pretty tightly held in. And then one piece fell out there. And this other middle piece, you can kind of get rid of these two pieces for when you're using these as kind of weapons. But these also have pegs in here that you can use to plug in different places, and these kind of act like cannons. So you have those on both halves. Once you rotate those pegs out. See, if you wanted something like this, that looks kind of crazy. But yeah, you have that option. Alright, so that's really it for robot mode. I did want to do some quick comparisons that I think would be helpful. Just to give you an idea of how G1 this guy looks. So I don't have any G1 figures for the most part. I have this World's Smallest Transformers, which is a shrunken down version of G1 figures. And this looks, it's a pretty accurate representation. But you can see the wings, the feet, the head that comes back along the back here. It's a very G1 loyal kind of representation. With all the kibble and giant feet. But that's actually, you know, that's part of the appeal if you really like G1 homages. Another figure I'll bring out is, because I think this fits in with the classics scale the best, I'll bring in a classic mold Optimus. And I think that scales really, really well. Just for giggles, because some people were probably going to ask, I'll go ahead and bring in Masterpiece Grimlock. Oops. So this guy's pretty big, as you can see. He's definitely not MP scale, considering that Grimlock himself is small for the MP scale now, and he's smaller than him, but he's still quite large. And about the same weight. I would say Masterpiece Grimlock weighs a little bit more. So those are the comparisons I wanted to do. I wanted to do transformation. So again, he has 3 modes. He has the robot, he has Dino mode, and then he has the combined mode. I'm going to go in that order, and then I'll go back. So he's not too complex, but there are some things to be aware of. One quick thing before I actually go into any transformations. It looks like mine also has a misassembly. So this foot piece here has tabs that are supposed to fit into this slot, but they don't actually align correctly. And if you look at this one here, you can see that the slot is supposed to be higher up than this one. And I tried to open up the arm and switch it to see if that would work, just flip this bottom piece, but it's actually an entire different piece. So this is the same piece as the one here, and it's supposed to have an opposite, an actually different piece that's supposed to go in here. So this side won't actually close all the way, while this side will, if you have it properly aligned. So that's the downside. They're going to need to get that fixed or replaced at some point. The last thing I'll talk about in robot mode is just kind of the overall quality. He's really good quality in terms of plastic. He does have the notorious gray swirls. You can see that here, and really across the entirety of the figure where there's gray. But the chrome looks really nice. It looks very G1, and I like the chrome, gold chrome underneath the translucent, like smoke plastic on the Dino mode head here, and that you can see on the chest. The chest is actually very interesting. So they have a red chrome here, but they also have purple, which I don't really understand. So it looks like they chromed it in this red, and then they paint over some sections with a kind of a purple color. I don't know. I don't know if I love that choice, but it's not bad. You may not immediately notice it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get in transformation, because it's going to take a while to do all three of these modes. So robot to all transformation. Let's go ahead and start with the head. You just flip down this panel, rotate this in, close it up. We'll do with the fist. As I showed you before, open this up, rotate that in, and then this will tab in correctly if it's not misassembled. On this side, I'm not going to be able to close it all the way, but you'll get an idea. Okay. We can go ahead and deal with the Dino mode head now. So it's on this piece here, this kind of L piece. I'm going to rotate that all the way, and then you have two tabs here that are going to go into these sections here. And it's a very tight fit, so you might want to just get in one side first and then rotate the other side in. And then you can rotate at the shoulders to get the Dino facing the right way. And here's where you may want to collapse the shoulders just to get it closer to the body. You'll lose some articulation, but for Dino mode, I don't think that matters that much. You can also fold the wings down and across like this, but you want to actually keep it open, because these tabs here, these pegs here, will peg into the midsection of the body to hold the top and lower half together. Next thing we'll do is actually rotate the lower body 180 degrees, and then we're going to deal with the legs. The legs are where most of the complexity comes from with this figure. It's made up of really 4 different sections. So you have this front section, which basically stays static. You have the tail section here, then you have this weird kind of like foot section here, and then you have the rear legs there. So those kind of 4 sections make up the bottom. And then you have the leg and this piece here, which swings through, and you'll see what I mean, and is used in a couple different ways for transformation. So the first thing you'll do is this tail piece is pegged in, so you just unpeg that, just rotate it up, and then you swing it on this hinge to get out of the way. Actually, one of the other things you'll want to do, just because it's easier, is unpeg the Dino mode legs, which are pegged in around the knee, and then rotate that out. Just get it out of the way. Getting it up this way gives you a little bit more room to work with the tail. And then this lower section here, which makes up kind of the heel, that also unpegs right from right here. You rotate that open, and then that gives you the space that you're going to rotate the thighs in. Before you do that, you kind of do a G1 transformation, just move the hips down so that they fold closer to flat like that. And what you're going to do is you're basically going to swing this all the way around, this black section all the way around like that, and then you swing at the thigh all the way in. Oh, did I make a mistake? Oh, maybe I would. For this mode, I wasn't supposed to rotate the hips. Sorry about that. No, I was right. Okay, so sorry about that. So what I was supposed to do was swing this in like this and swing it forward. That's what the mistake. You do it the other way to do the combined mode. So you swing it like so, and then you can deal with the section here. So this section will fold back in. You want to extend this out, and then this makes the bottom part of the rear. And then the tail also folds closed. Fold that open, and then this will tab in here. But it's easier to do that once you get both halves together. So you just repeat on the other side. Again, you extend the leg out, and then you bring it down at the hip. Untab the tail section from this gray piece. Untab the knee, and get it rotated out of the way. Rotate that through. On the bottom of the foot, untab it, fold it up like this. Now from here, keep this stationary and just rotate thigh kind of through. And then you have kind of the two halves starting to come together. Coming around to the back, fold this straight, fold that in. This will make up the two halves, and there's pegs, like one here and one up here. And those would peg the two halves together. Rotating the tail, you also just straighten that out, and then again there's several tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4 tabs in the tail that you're going to peg all together. Just get all those aligned. Start just tabbing them in slowly but surely, all the way down to the tip of the tail. There's another tab up the top. Now you can rotate these dino legs down. Rotate them down this way. You just need to get the two halves all together now. Alright. And then you can also tab the toes together. They kind of slide in. Like so. There we go. You heard it snap. And so once this tail section is kind of all together, you just push that up, and that tabs in. Straighten out the dino legs. Straighten out the toes. Same thing on the other side. And then here, like I said, you had to wait to close the wings because there's a peg here and a peg hole there. Same thing on the other side. And then pegs up on the top of the chrome. That all fits together. Oop, the tail came undone. There we go. And there we have Thunderous in alt mode, dino mode. Alright, so let's do some quick comparisons. Here he is again with his little buddy. If I can put him up here. No, that's not going to work. Alright, let's go ahead and bring in another Dinobot very quickly, just to give you an idea of how big he is. So you can see how massive this guy is in Dino mode. It's quite long. Getting out of the way, let's go ahead and just show off what you can do with his weapons. So using those same pegs and any of the peg holes around here, you can kind of just weapon them up pretty massively. And again, since these are one of them, they're the same. this is not going to look right, but it's not going to look symmetrical, that is. But you can really have them have a crazy amount of weaponry. That just looks really ridiculous. Downside is that you don't have any options that I could figure out with these because there's no peg holes or pegs. So the swords are gonna be left off. Let's get him free of all these weapons, and let's go ahead and start transforming him from alt mode to combine mode. So again, he's going to form the leg. The first thing we'll do is, let's go ahead and pull the head down. We're going to need to split this top half, or front half, because we're going to need to get access to these legs again. You can fold up the tail, and really what you're going to need to do is just split the two halves all the way down. Untap that. There we go. Again, just get these dino legs up and out of the way. That makes things a lot easier. You can rotate the tail out of the way for now. Fold these down like so. Open them up. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to have to rotate 180 at the waist. And what we're going to do here is basically extend the legs and flip them out the other way. So this piece was like this down here, and the legs kind of fit in that way. What you're going to do is the opposite. You can swing this piece around so it's here, and then swing the legs up and in like so. Same thing on the other side. Open it up, swing it around. Get the thighs up and behind. Started running into some problems here because I didn't fully get the hips out and down. Alright, there we go. You're going to basically tap the two halves together. You're going to fold this around like so. Keep these folded down this time instead of having them extended up because you're going to need that space. Just fold that around. The tail pieces come down like this and basically tab together in the back. There's two halves that sit on the back like that. The dino legs you're going to peg back in. So see this peg here? There's a corresponding peg at the knee joint. There we go. Peg that in. With this piece here, I've already done it just by bending it all the way. But here, I'll show you. Oh, I did on this side too. So just really quickly, there is a little tab here that goes into this slot. Kind of hooks on. It's not a tight tab, but it is designed to do that. Just trying to get the tail halves together. Like so. Before we move on, well, here, let's just keep going for now. So the weird thing that they tell you to do is actually you can actually pull up on this joint here, and it's on this hinge. It's supposed to come up and forward like this, apparently. which is just kind of odd. I'm not sure. You can close this up now. But you can see on the transformation, it tells you to kind of pull this up and have it angled forward like that. I'm not sure why, because you can actually have it sit back and not have any issues, sit back flat without having to bring out this hip at all. I don't know why they. It might be just to get it out of the way when you actually combine it, because I'm not sure what's going on in the combine mode up here where the knee joint is. It might be just to get some clearance or just make it look a little bit different. But yeah, it's kind of like that. You can kind of do what you want with it. For the dyno mode front legs, you want to fold the toes down like this, and then you're going to bend this. And again, there's a little tab here that goes into this slot on both sides. And then it's going to be kind of hard to see, but you have these two holes here and these corresponding pegs on each side. You just kind of position them, tab them in. And they tie it nice and tightly. The one thing that I have a really hard time with, and I might not be able to get it out right now, is that this combiner joint here is really, really tight. Probably should have done it earlier, but you need something to get you enough leverage where you can rotate it out. I don't have anything really that stiff, but basically I'm not going to show it just because it's kind of self-explanatory and it's super tight. But basically you just need, it even shows in the instructions, you need just some kind of lever to put in here, like maybe a screwdriver. I'm hesitant to put a screwdriver in there, but something hard, like even my spudger doesn't get the job done. So you're going to need something fairly hard to go in here and rotate that up. And you'll see that he's designed to be the left leg, and you can see it's off-centered, so you can't kind of mix and match. This will be closer to the inner part of the leg. But yeah, you just kind of rotate the dyno mode head down like so. I didn't peg the bottom half all together yet. It's because I need to get the feet together first. So let's bring in the feet, rotate these in. Once you get those rotated in, you're going to get those pieces that we saw earlier. So there's a tab here. You're just going to put that in like that. On this side, let's see if I remember how, yeah, so this goes in like so. And then you just put the two halves together. And this is going to form the ankle. So the ankle itself has a lot of articulation. It's a big ball joint down here. There's a ratcheted piece here, ratcheted piece up here. And to get it in, these two posts have to go straight up. And then they have two tabs on the inside there. Trying to think, is this right? I'm trying to remember if I have to rotate this around. I think I have to rotate this around. Might be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty sure I have to rotate this around like this. And you just basically have to fit it up in these two halves before you can collapse everything. Oh, I'm wrong. Sorry. It was the right way. It's supposed to go in these two holes here. Sorry about that. It was confusing myself with which holes it was supposed to go into. And then you just have to collapse the two halves together. It's kind of hard just because there's so many different tabs going on through this entire foot. But yeah, finally we have him in combined mode, leg mode, with the exception of this ratchet, which I haven't been able to maneuver out. But yeah, this leg is massive, and this, considering this is only the lower half where the knee joint starts here, that's huge. And just to give you a comparison, something to compare to, here's Feral Rex. And you can see the equivalent section is here on Fortis. So that's up here. And that's a good almost inch and a half, maybe higher, possibly even higher. So this guy is going to be absolutely massive when he's all said and done. And if you want, again, you can mount these guns on the side here. But I'm not going to show that because we're running out of time. So, big leg mode. That ball joint is really tight, which is great. You see how squeaky it is, and because it has those two ratchet pieces, you can get a lot of range of motion on this thing, even for such a heavy piece. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this guy transformed back into robot mode, and well, we're gonna go from combined alt and alt to robot and finish off the review. So let's go ahead and split this open really quickly. Oops, sorry about that noise. What are we gonna do first? Let's get these arms unpegged, get them rotated up, get the hip rotated, all the upper body basically all folded flat. Let's go ahead and kind of start like we did before. Get these tabs in. Again, it's probably easier to do one side and then the other. You're gonna have to split these two halves for now so that you can get the bottom half done. Alright, just start splitting. Remember to be careful around the chrome. I'm gonna go ahead and get these Dino Mode legs out of the way again, just because they do kind of interfere with the transformation. You have to unpeg it here at the knee, which I just kind of gloss through. Open this up. Open these up. Then we're going to extend the leg down like so. This time you're going to have this black piece go back up at the top. You can rotate this down, and then the peg's in here. So this peg hole. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to Dino Mode. So Dino Mode, I'm gonna have to rotate at the hips. Remember to get these hips down. I'm gonna rotate this piece to the top. Rotate this through. Same thing on this side. Keep this up here while you rotate this down and through. Get the tail rotated around, extend it out. These pieces need to go straight out, fold in. So, now it's just a matter again of getting both halves kind of tabbed together. Rotate the Dino Mode legs down. Tab in the tail. Get the legs just positioned, get the toes out. Fold the wings back, Peg those in. Peg the two halves together. Take the front legs down, get those all organized. There we go. So combine to Alt and going back into robot mode. Get these legs out the way again. Split. Well, let's rotate this down, just give you some more access to this top half. Rotate those out. Just split the legs basically. Well, you can untab the tail. Split the legs. Split this half. Get these legs out of the way again. Get the bottom section opened up. Fold those up. Get this open. And basically you just want to rotate at the knee down. Rotate 180. Then just start closing things up. So with this black piece, again, you're gonna have to open it up first just so you can get that clearance, close that up, and now make use of that peg hole and peg, and that secures. The tail, you're gonna fold this all the way back down, like so. And when you rotate it, remember you're gonna have to tab this peg into this hole here, because that's what secures this piece. Same thing on the other side. Extend this out flat. Rotate this in. Bring this down. Kind of tucks in. Tab that in. And then make sure you have the hips up and angled at 90 degrees. Dinobot leg, kind of the same thing we did before. You're going to rotate these all the way around. Peg in at the knee here. Right here. And then rotate it back so that this little tab fits into that little slot. And then they always point these toes up. It really doesn't matter what you do with those. It's just your personal preference on how you want them to look. So we're almost done now. Rotate the arms down. You can open up the toes. Rotate out the fists. Tab those back in. Same thing on this side. Down. Just kind of do whatever you want with the Dinobot head. Open up the chest. Rotate this red piece out to reveal the head. Close that back up. Alright. And then do with the wings whatever you'd like. And finally we're back in robot mode. So yeah, that was a long journey. Oh, sorry. You want to extend the shoulders out. However you like to position them. So yeah, that was a long journey. I'm just going to go very quickly into my final thoughts. I do like this figure. I think it has a lot of fun stuff going on, especially with the leg transformation. It does get a little annoying because there's a lot of little pieces that kind of get in the way, folding out and folding in. But overall, I think it's really cool, and it really depends on your desire as a collector, because this one basically has a few things going forward. One, it's a combiner, which everyone loves combiners, right? Two, it's also a very G1 toy-esque homage. It's slightly modernized, but it's not something like, a Fans Toy or Fans Toys Take, where it's definitely very different and much updated engineering. A lot of the engineering, look, at least in terms of looks, it looks very similar, even though the leg mechanisms are really cool. It does have a lot of the big legs and kibble that you would expect from a kind of a G1 toy homage, instead of something that's kind of leaner, more, I guess, quote-unquote realistic looking. But yeah, I like this figure overall. I think it has a lot going for it, a lot of cool accessories. I think for the price, it's also a really good figure, because this combined mode, I think that's what a lot of people are buying it for, is gonna be a really, really big combiner, the biggest combiner that we've had to date of any third party. And I'm curious how it's gonna stack up against the Combiner Wars Devastator once that comes out. But yeah, I think that's really it. If you have any questions or comments, or you think I missed something, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, go ahead and click subscribe. And as always, if you want to add this guy to your collection, you can go ahead and click on the Toy Dojo link in the description below and pick one up for yourself, as well as kind of pre-order the other figures that are coming out. So they've already showed, I think, 4 of the 5 figures. They recently showed not just the Slag, but also the Grimlock. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on with these guys. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next with this, and really looking forward to the combined mode. So yeah, thanks a lot everyone. That's all for today. Have a good one.